Howdy guys. Woo. It's a hot one in Alabama right now. Well, up at the Pathfinder gathering, I got me a canteen. I got several canteens. I got me one of the Boy Scout 2 quarts. I have wanted one of these since I was a kid. When I was just starting out, and like I said, I had just discovered a local department store had Boy Scout stuff. And I wanted a canteen. And the canteen I wanted was a 2 quart, just like this. But the only thing they had in a 2 quart was a red one with the belt clip, which I showed in that earlier video. And so, with reluctance, I got it. And for several years I used it. It rode in the pack. It rode on the belt, you know. And yeah, it was a pack canteen. It was meant to be the backup water so you didn't have to carry something heavy on your shoulder. You could just carry it hooked to your pack, your yucca pack in that case. And it did work, but it was never what I really wanted. And I've reached a point in my life, I'm looking back at a lot of the things that, you know, I never had one of those type deal. And so I'm getting those type of collections up. And the classic camping gear. Now you gotta understand, a lot of the Boy Scout gear that we envision, these khaki World War II and right after and right before type stuff, is really a carryover of the Civil War era stuff. The yucca pack is very much just simply a knapsack of the Civil War era, where you were supposed to carry your blanket wrapped around in a horseshoe, or guys would wear a blanket roll going diagonally across them and then carry other things. Well, these canteens like this were an offshoot. You look at the old Civil War canteen, they had a plugger and a stopper up top, and then later by the 1870s, this style of a canteen with the neck off to the side as opposed to the top, started showing up with a canteen cover that you could drink out of without having to turn the whole canteen upside down, see. And there were advantages. One, I could lay this down with water in it. One on the side, the cork, if you boom, the cork could pop out and you'd lose your water. I know a bunch of Civil War reenactors have talked to me about that. But by putting this up here on the top like this, and this being a screw thread, it wouldn't come out. They made a canteen that I could open up and lay down, so I could pour water in a pot and lay it down one-handed and not have to worry so much about it pouring out. Good well water. Now, this one is in really good shape, very clean. I picked it up at the Pathfinder gathering for like 15 bucks. And it's got a name on the strap. So if you're seeing yours or your dad's or whatever canteen, well, Blackie's got it now. And these still serve today as a good canteen. I mean, what is the job of a canteen? Store water for later use. Well, as you know, I carry a Grail. Well, that's my water source. And I usually carry a belt canteen. But one of these has advantages as well, especially if I was to also carry the Grail in my pack, so I could resupply 2 quarts like this at one time is fairly well. And this being a thin aluminum, if this cover gets wet, it'll help evaporative cool it and help keep the canteen from being so hot, the canteen water. So I could redunk this thing every time I get to the stream and let it cool off. I'm already wet. I'm standing here wet right now, guys, just from the humidity and the sweat. So that's not a big deal. And unlike a lot of the Boy Scout stuff that's really meant for kids, this actually has a usable adjustable strap so that a grown man can put it on and put it on a hip. Pretty easy. And it rides back here on my hip. Like so. Which is about where I wanted to be. It's got that hollow in the back of it, so it's not round, so it'd sit flat, but that hollow also allows it to cup to you. Now you see it in like the U.S. military canteens, which are D-shaped or kidney shaped, and that goes all the way back to the 1700s in the British military. The British military in 1717, I believe it was, might be 1719, did an in-depth study, and they wanted to know how much water how much food, how heavy a rifle, how heavy a pack, how far could a soldier walk in a day and still be combat capable at the end of that walk. Not just totally exhausted, but could he do it and still be able to fight if he had to, or actually get there and engage. And after they did several years of in-depth study with soldiers in real world, the conclusion they came to was a 10-pound rifle, a 1-quart minimum canteen, 3 days worth of food, a 60 rounds of ammunition, a 65-pound pack. That's what they came up with. That was in 17, 19. And we kept doing that. When you go look at the U.S. military stuff, Brown Bess musket, 10 pounds. How many rounds of ammunition? 60. How big was the canteen? 1 quart. How much did the pack weigh? 65 pounds. How much, Vietnam, how much was a rifle? 10-pound M14. How much water? 1 quart canteen. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Standard issue. Of course, the troops would do like we did and augment. Carry extra canteens, extra water, or whatever. But 60 rounds of ammunition is what we started with the Vietnam War. Now, by the end of it, we was using ARs and 30-round mags. But it shows that for hundreds of years, that was the military doctrine of how much you needed to go 20 miles. And so a 1-quart canteen was considered adequate to get you through a 20-mile hike. Now, you old veterans will be able to tell them in a heartbeat, toting a 65-pound pack on a forced march, 1-quart canteen ain't jack, unless you got watering stations along the way. But I wanted a 2-quart canteen that rode like this, on a strap, on my shoulder, that looked good, looked historic, which the canteen does, and still serves a purpose. And this aluminum canteen is just as good today as it was probably in the late 40s, early 50s, whenever this design was being sold. And so, why not use it? Why not take it out to the field? I enjoy using and playing around with old antique gear and seeing how well it worked for granddad era, etc. And maybe someday, somebody's going to find a knife like mine, like the Blackbird, years and years from now, and want to know what these old knives and things that these old timers had 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago were like. Who knows? You and I right now might be starting the next trend. Heck, they might be bushcraft reenactors in the next century. Who knows? It's a good thought, ain't it? Appreciate you watching, guys. Till next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.